miss. Please be aware that I have something extra special that I've never done before at the end of the daily financial news, so stick around for that. It is a light news day, so this might be a little bit shorter than most, but let's get into the news. And I thought one of the things I would do here is answer the question of how much money did I make on YouTube this year? In fact, I will share with you many YouTube statistics for 2025. Now, obviously, there's 6 days left, so these numbers will change slightly. But let's get into the stats. Let's get into other daily financial news. So let's not tease anymore. I made, as of yesterday, $35,675. So right around 36 grand or $3,000 a month. Yes, creating content live, creating a loyal audience, being consistent does pay off. Some other statistics, actually ones that are more interesting to me, is I produced 1,000 videos. Think about that. 1,000 videos and 291 live streams. So that is just about 1,300 new postings in 2025. That is what, 3 videos a day, 4 videos a day? That is actually consistency. So when we talk about, buy box, daily discipline, do the work, I live it out loud. I don't just talk the talk. Hopefully by now you've seen me walk the walk. Other statistics, this one's disappointing, but I get it. But nonetheless, it is disappointing. My audience is made up of 89% male and 11% female. Now, obviously, YouTube creators, I've talked throughout the years, your audience really does mirror you. So I get it. But with the number of ladies that we bring on the channel, like Anna Kelly and Casey from Brick by Brick and many others, I honestly thought we could do better. I would love to see that at like 80-20. I think 80-20 would be legendary, 80% male, 20% female, but more work to do there. 85% of my audience is in the United States. Again, that doesn't surprise me. But Canada came in second at 1.3%. So a huge drop off all the way to second place. The next stat is the one that Graham Stephan told me was a problem, but I actually see it as a badge of honor. I now love this statistic. It is who watches your channel. And to keep context, the average YouTube channel has about 30% subscribed and 70% not subscribed. That's rough and tough. The average channel, that is according to Graham Stephan. My channel, 74% subscribed and only 26% unsubscribed. What does that mean? That means my audience is extremely loyal. And that is now a badge of honor. That is something I cherish and I thank you for. It also means 26% I'm not growing. I'm not reaching new audiences. But you know what? That's okay. I don't need to reach the drunk idiots like Jerry Springer in the parking lot. I want to talk to people that want to do the work, that have hope, that have belief. And that's just going to be a smaller audience than other doom and fear-based channels. And now I'm okay with that. Next up, these are kind of the standard YouTube stats right on the main page. I had 3.4 million views, just a little bit over 3.4 million views in a year. You all consumed 375,000 hours. I have no idea. How many days is that? Gee, how many days? Anybody? I'm going to guess. I have no idea. I usually like to do numbers in my head, but I'm tired. It's early. So let's see. 375. I can't even type this morning. 375,000 hours divided by 24. That is 15,625 days. There's 5 days of content being consumed every day on my channel, roughly. Thank you. And I say only because this is not great. But again, it's my world. I need to be happy with it. We grew the channel by 5,589. So not even 6,000. And monthly active users, the last stat, 44,300. So again, happy to live out loud. I think my most popular video this year, actually, if you want to see my top 10 videos of the year, which videos made the most money, go over to Twitter or X. I just posted a picture of my top, I don't know, 10 or 15 videos. So again, if you want to know which videos printed money this year, go over on X or Twitter and check it out. So there's the stats, 36 grand. I'm most proud of 1,300 videos. Again, who creates 1,300 videos in a year? This guy. Other things I read for the daily financial news. Again, FedWatch tool now says that we will not get a cut in January, not get a cut in March. First cut is looking like April as of right now. We'll see, obviously, if that changes. Read an interesting report from FINRA, and it says that 26, so let's call it 1 in 4 Americans are living beyond their means. 1 in 4. Now, I always think about when I read stats like this, the Jason Hartman quote compared to what? I would love to see what that stat was in the 90s, in the 80s. I'm going to guess it wasn't as high, but you and I have been around the block. Americans have been living beyond their means forever. It's kind of like what we do. So again, 26% sounds scary, but I want to know compared to what? If we were 22% a decade ago, not a big deal. But if we were 12%, that's a big deal. That is crazy. We were talking about a GDP growth of 2026 of 5% plus. In fact, if you remember last week, I asked the audience who thought we could grow 4% or more, and it was about 60-40. About 60% of the audience said more and 40% said less. Elon Musk, get this, Elon Musk says double-digit growth, so 10% plus, is coming within the next 12 to 18 months. I don't know about you, but I'm going to call poppycock. That is that would be nearly unheard of growth. Think about our economy growing at 10%. That would be, I'm not even sure what that would look like. I really don't. That would be wild. As you know, airline is a tough business. Looks like Southwest Airlines is the number one U.S. airline this year, even though their profits are down 42%. For those of you that are fans of the All In podcast, Chamath just had a liquidity event. He's been talking about a company called Grok, G-R-O-Q, and as opposed to G-R-O-K. So this is the one with the Q. Looks like that is getting bought by NVIDIA for $20 billion. Near as I can tell, doing a little bit of research, Chamath put in about 80 million, and he's going to cash out about 2 billion. Think about that. You put in 8 million or 80 million, sorry, and you cash out 2 Bs, $2 billion. I can't even fathom that. So congrats on your liquidity event. Torsten Slok, chief economist of Apollo Global, somebody that I follow pretty religiously now, somebody, frankly, I didn't hear about last year, but now he is the chief economist that I like to follow. He thinks that 2026 will start off with stagflation tendencies, and then as we roll into the second half of the year, start reacceleration, which is interesting. Again, sort of stagflation. So a slow start to 2026 with acceleration at the end of the year. Kind of on the reverse, I actually, when I ever read about Torsten Slok, I also try to read Mark Zandi. I consider them opposites. If Torsten says the sky is blue, Mark Zandi is saying it's red. They're always opposite, or they always seem to be opposite. Torsten is a bull and Mark Zandi is a bear. So what is Mark saying? Mark is saying, don't celebrate that 4.3% GDP growth just yet. It is very fragile because we are not growing the job market. Mark, you're always a wet blanket. What happened to you, man? Come on, be better than that. Shout out Lance Lambert at Resi Club posting this. The 30-year mortgage came in yesterday at 6.21. The year low, the low for the year is 6.13. So do we get there by the end of the year or not? It will be interesting. But yes, we are at or near the lows. And lastly, we'll close with the Crash Bros, the Doomers, with a shout out to Logan Montashami from Housing Wire. You guys know that there are Doomers saying that it's going to be worse than 2008. It's going to be bigger. It's going to be faster. It's going to be a 38% decline. Well, let's just tell you how the data looks for those people that think it will be worse than 08. Let's first shout out Josh. I just saw this. Sorry, buddy. I don't know when you sent this, but we just got a super chat. Josh wants to say Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. Thank you all for being here. Again, you guys make this channel go. You give me a smile every day. I love all of you for showing up. I love the fact that 74% of you are subscribed. You guys come back. You consume content. You have hope. You're doing the work. All of those good things. Josh, you're amazing, man. Merry Christmas to you and all of that good stuff. We're almost done, folks. This is my last stat. And then we're going to switch over to something extra special. So stay tuned for that. Again, back to Logan. For those of you that think this is worse than 08, here are some stats to think about. This is around new active weekly listings. Again, remember, people are actually saying this out loud. This will be bigger and faster than 08. Again, let me give you these real stats. In 2009, new listings for the week, these are not monthly numbers, these are weekly numbers, 260,000. In 2010, 335,000. In 2011, 293,000. So again, folks, if you're saying bigger and faster, then it goes on to show that the numbers should be worse today, right? They should at least be close, right? Wrong. In 2024, we had 39,000. And yesterday, we had, for the week, 38,000 new listings, folks. We are nowhere close to bigger and faster. It's poppycock. It's Jerry Springer headlines. Don't believe the hype. Do the work. Have hope. Get out there. Write disrespectful offers. Do all of those things. So, folks, again, I am happy to do something we have never done on the Daily Financial News, and that is we are going to bring in a guest, and we are just going to keep it rolling. And how you doing, Mark? What's going on?
Morning. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I am not the Christmas elf you're bringing in. I know people are going to say that, but
well, I thought something we should do this morning, because we're both early birds, we're getting up before our families, is we should just roll into, the session that you and I usually do in private, and that is you go through all the comments, you pick them up, and I just will respond in real time. This is live. This is playing right now on YouTube live. We've got 43 people watching. So let's go through the comments. Where do you want to start?
As usual, let's start with some of the spicy ones. This one was from your video with Ricky Caruth, why 2026 housing market will surprise. So Stefan9677 says, typical realtor vomit. Next year will be horrendous.
I get these all the time. And generally this person's a doomer. They follow those idiots and brokies. But again, I want to be clear. I'm not saying and have never said that next year will be gangbusters for prices. In fact, my call is 1%. It's just like my call this year was 1%. So that's first off. They always vomit because they think I'm talking price, and I'm not. All of you hopefully know that I'm talking transactions. And again, I'm not talking gangbusters. I think we're going to do 4 million transactions, and I think we're going to go up 7%. So it'll be roughly 4.28. And, I don't know what to say. I don't think that's any gangbuster year, but it's not deteriorating. It's not falling apart. And lastly, I'm not a realtor. It's just, somebody who's pissed off at the world and probably broke, just saying nonsense. But yes, I get that stuff all the time.
Now, this one was on your video with Dan Bird for the Trump account. And I think people just get blinded a lot. They hear Trump and they just stop listening anymore, right?
Orange man bad.
Yeah,
Orange man bad.
exactly. So this person commented, M. Praza says, Dan and this channel has turned into Trump propaganda.
I don't know why somebody would think the Trump accounts are propaganda. They're real. They're going to affect July 4th. There are ways. I mean, again, you hear the word Trump and it pisses off half the world and it makes the other half smile. And that's unfortunate because often when you let emotion get in the way, you miss opportunities. And whether you like it or not, my belief is the Trump accounts, again, what Dan and I went through is these are ways to fundamentally change future generations. And again, I mean this with every fiber of my body. If people in my world, right, people in my first circle of friends, maybe even out to my second, if they create Trump accounts and they have kids in the next 4 years, I'm kicking in money to every account I get asked for. Because again, you throw in $100 or, $250 or whatever it is, that's going to just, that's going to grow to the moon. And you could help that kid, that child, where you'll be long dead. I'll be dead for 4 decades by the time this kid gets this stuff. And, that's just going to be a way to help future generations. I don't get it. I don't know why talking about these accounts is propaganda. First off, they're real, right? They're coming to effect July 4th of 2026. And it's just more TDS, more orange man bad. It's really sad, frankly. It's a sign of brain rot, frankly. If you can't look at like you hear the word Trump account and you immediately spin off into some chaotic pissing match. It's unfortunate, I think.
And Chester Wealth Building Journey, who is watching, may have a name for a shirt. It says Trumpaganda. So maybe we can put that.
No, I'm going to stay away from it. Again, Trump does lots of stupid things and says lots of stupid things. I'm not a huge Trump guy, but when you look at the options we've had, I mean, it is what it is. But I'm not a whatever. I'm not orange man good either. Yeah. I try to call balls and strikes. But yeah, I'm not creating that shirt. Somebody else can. I'm staying away from that hot stove.
So this one is from our video, actually. So why doomers are evil. And J Rose 9595 says, disrespectful offers, trying to steal a home, your words. Doesn't sound very moral, but whatever. I still enjoy watching people I disagree with.
Well, thank you for watching. Yeah, hey, if that's what you heard, that's on you. Go ahead. You know what, dude? Go ahead and pay list price. You go ahead and pay list price. Go ahead. Hurt yourself. When I say disrespectful offers, I mean them. I do them. I built my portfolio on them. I think others should. Typically a disrespectful offer is only accepted when the seller needs to sell. So you're actually helping them. But what you're doing that no one else does is you're uncovering opportunity. Because again, you're going to write. I mean, I've told you this story. I wrote there was a period of time where I had to write 100 disrespectful offers in a row before I got a deal. That was actually with a real estate agent named Scott, and he actually tracked them. I'm searching for the best deal for my family. And then back to the moral comment. I mean, I don't, whatever. I mean, I don't, I'm not even sure how that comes into play. But you do you.
So the same thing, our recap video, why doomers are evil. Harrison Trade Better 99 says, I know many crash bros, which lead me to audit my network, but I do meet people that don't want to be stuck anymore. Do you recommend a cold turkey approach for these channels, or would you recommend a step-down approach with a morning dose of daily financial news for the doom cure?
Dude, I got to tell you, the only way to cut them out is cold turkey. You've got to get them out all the way. If it's like a drink of water, and then you have a teaspoon or a tablespoon of poison. Even if you put in less poison, it's still poison. There's only one way to quit doomers is you got to get them out. And again, I recommend, I think I took this from Gary Vee. You guys need to sanitize your feeds. Go to your search bar, type in puppies, and go to your search bar and type in rainbows and interact with that stuff and really F up your algorithm. And that's just going to send all that garbage out. And then be intentional. These devices, we always talk about you are the 5 friends and you are who you're around, and show me your friends, I'll show you your future. If I look at your feed of social media, I can tell you what your future is going to be. So I don't think there's anything you could do but quit cold turkeys. Let's see what I think we just got a super chat. Look at you guys sending me money on Christmas.
So that's from Frank Rei.
Yeah, Michael, thank you for giving us all hope and a much better future. Merry Christmas. Frank, you're amazing. I can't wait to see Frank in Vegas. We got to give him his belt. He earned a belt last year, but unfortunately couldn't make it out. So that will be fun time on stage for Frank.
He also has a question in here. So let's just throw this in here. So he says, for investors who are 55 to 65 with limited time runway, would you actually follow the same ORAT playbook, or does time force a different approach?
So I get versions of this question all the time. For me, it really boils down to how many decades do you think you have left? And that's something you would have to answer. Because I've talked to people, many people are like, Michael, I've got 5 years left, but their goal is to set something up for their kids or grandkids or whatever. And by all means, great. But yeah, if you're looking in the mirror and saying, hey, for whatever reason, I don't think I'll be around in 5 years, then by all means do something else. And frankly, enjoy life. Because I've told everyone it's 5 years of suck. It takes a decade. But if you're looking at this thinking, you know what, I'm 55, I'm going to live to 90. I mean, you're on the path, right? It's 10 years, so you'll be 65. You're gonna be in a much better position at 65. Now, in fairness, to kind of round this story out, if you look at my story, I don't think you take that second step. What do I mean by that? So again, I built a portfolio of 8 houses, and I think that took like 5 years or so. Thinking back in time, so that would be 55 to 60. At that point, I had 8 houses. I probably stopped building and I start paying off. Right. I happened to be 30 and then went to 35. So then I sold in 1031 and bought apartments, and you guys know the drill. It's all in my book. But yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with getting to 4, getting to 6, getting to 8 from 55 to 60, and then going into chill mode or payoff mode or whatever, as opposed to 1031ing and doubling down and doing all of that again. I don't think you need the second season of hard. But yeah, if you're 55 and you're going to live to 90, go nuts.
This one was also on the video with Ricky Caruth about the 2026 housing market. Was surprised, but love for puppies. It says accidental landlord here. What you said is so true, and this community made it a lot less scary. Hoping to do it again when our last son graduates high school next summer or by the end of 2026. We had to move to the Midwest from Arizona to do it, but I think it was worth it in the end to be able to own assets. Question: is it the president, Congress, or the Fed that gets to decide to buy more mortgage-backed securities? Just curious, because it seems like they kept buying for too long in 2022.
So this is something we're going to find out next year. This is going to be a test for 2026. So if we look historically, it was the Fed. The Fed decided, because historically they never did that. They bought Treasury notes and Treasury bills. But during this last crisis, they had to spread out the risk and they had to buy other things, and that other things became mortgage-backed securities. Also, they bought other commercial paper and company paper and things of that nature. So that was absolutely the Fed. The Fed was always created, in my opinion, to be like the buyer of last resorts. And they did. They bought everything. And you're absolutely right. And I think they would admit it now. They stayed around too long. They bought way too much and were there way too long. And that's really the price that we're paying today. So it was the Fed, to answer historically. However, as we roll into 2026, and we have a president that's now focused on housing affordability and all these other things, I honestly, dude, I have no idea what might happen in 2026. We may have the Treasury. The Treasury might raise their hand and go, you know what? We've allocated $1 trillion to buy MBS. We may have the Fed again. I really don't think the president has that power. In fact, the executive branch doesn't have that power. But that doesn't mean that, we don't have a wink and a nod and a behind the back handshake, and the Treasury does something. I mean, to be clear, it has never been done before, but lots of things that have never been done before have happened. But again, historically, it would be the Fed.
This one was on your most recent video with Jen. Hold it with PM Jen. Why one rental at a time works. Jayhoon89. So this is not advice. This is maybe just what you do and maybe why. But it says, hey, Michael, just curious if you use a separate bank account for rentals and if it matters.
So it absolutely does matter. I personally never want to have, again, it's back to my accounting background. I don't want to mix funds. So I have lots of bank accounts. I have bank accounts for rentals. I have bank accounts for family. I have bank accounts for emergencies. I have bank accounts for various LLCs. Yeah, so I have more bank accounts than any rational human being probably should. But I want each entity to stand on its own. I don't want to have income or expenses blended. I think that's how people get in trouble. I want to see which businesses or units are cash flowing. So yeah, I have, again, I think I have more bank accounts than most people probably rationally should, but I got a lot of stuff going on. Let me go to a comment from the people watching. CO8848-2. Zuber, you work too hard. Take today off. And I don't work at all. This is not work for me. This is fun. I reached out to Mark last week and I said, hey, let's do something cool. We're both up. If you guys don't know, Mark's in Hawaii, so it's like 4 a.m. for him or 4:30 or something. So hopefully before the kids are up, to unwrap stuff. But, I would be doing this anyway. I'm up. I was up at 5:28 this morning, no alarm. My family won't be rolling out of bed till 9 a.m. So I've got like 3 hours to myself. What am I going to do after this? I'm going to go on a 5-mile run. So I don't, this is not work. This is all fun for me. This is a total blast. But thank you for being concerned. But yes, this is not work for me.
On that question, then when what do you think about this comment? And this one was from, let's see, 8 characteristics that separates winners from with Brick by Brick Casey. PJF 56 says winners don't make New Year's resolutions.
I mean, I certainly get the intention behind that, and I think it's fair, but it's also, I understand the feedback, and if we were talking casually, I would probably agree with him. But given we're talking the world here, I don't know that that's true. There's a couple of things, they're called New Year's resolutions, but you could call them goals. And I think you've got to stretch. I mean, one of the things that you actually put this on X, and I'm sure it's on Instagram too. I didn't check Instagram this morning about our conversation a week or two ago, where I talked about 2024, or actually 2023 being a complete failure because I didn't grow. If you have a goal and that pushes you to do something, and you call it a New Year's resolutions, by all means, for me, for me at least, I've learned I got to have big, scary goals. And, this year was, getting healthy, and the year before that was a marathon, and next year's goal won't be physical. I think I've been leading into physical things, which is my sweet spot. I'm comfortable working out, comfortable doing hard things physically. My crazy goal for next year is actually a weakness of mine that I'm frankly horrible at. And, we'll share that on January 1st. But yeah, I'm already nervous for next year. So I don't care what you call them, but yeah, you got to grow, man. Like 2023 sucked, but if you watch my IG feed, you'd be like, damn, that guy's living a great life. But dude, I was comfortable. I didn't grow. It was a complete failure.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you gave your prediction on this, but this was in your daily financial news. You also posted it on X. But so gold to 5,000, silver to 100, Bitcoin to 150,000. So there was a lot of comments and responses on this one. So like Punakar, for example, says, I'll make it more interesting and even put time frames.
Ooh.
Gold gets to 5,000 before March of 2026. Bitcoin gets to 150K mid to late next year. And silver is the hardest to predict, but I see huge resistance at $82 and say it won't hit $100 in this decade. And just for reference, like your X post was up. Silver had 25% getting to $100. Gold was 62.5% people voted on, and then Bitcoin at 150K was 12.5% in the results. So
Yeah. So I mean, when in doubt, I trust Punakar. I mean,
yeah.
he looks at the numbers. But when I put that post together, this is what I was thinking. So when I put those numbers out there, gold was statistically closest, meaning it had the least to rise. Bitcoin has the most variation, right? It makes big moves both up and down. And then silver is interesting because it's had a clearly explosive move, which feels almost artificial, frankly. But those sometimes could just you could have blow off the top rally. So I don't think I gave my opinion. So let me just think about it right now. Again, gold is statistically closest, so that feels interesting. Yeah, I'll go with gold just because it's numerically there. Again, I don't really have a horse in the race. I have some of all of that, and I don't sell them. I just, hold them. Um, yeah, I'll say gold just because it's statistically closest.
Now we're going to get to some of the questions that were put in school that I thought
I,
raised a
I
lot
love
of
that you do that.
discussion.
You keep
Yeah.
doing this. We got to celebrate our school community. It's the best place in the world. We haven't had anybody join in the last couple of days. Shame on all of you. Again, you're going to get the only place I'm live streaming or at an event in Vegas is school. I'm actually losing money now because I don't remember what I made, 10 or 15 grand selling virtual tickets last year and the year before. I'm not doing that. Nobody can come unless you're in school. So get off your butt and sign up for school.
So Frank, old guy REI, had a great question. It says, mistakes I won't make twice. If you had to start over today, what would you absolutely not repeat?
So the first thing for me cost me a year is I believed the book or all the books I read that you had to invest in your backyard. Now, some of you can. I happen to live in the Silicon Valley, and that never made sense. Again, it never made sense unless you were willing to bet on appreciation, which I'm not, right? I'm the cash flow guy. So I would have spent that first year looking at other markets. But in fairness, I learned the skill, right? That's how my whole buy box and discipline and average and all that stuff. That's where that came from. But I mean, that's a mistake for sure. I would do a better job of interviewing property managers now having the skills that I have. Again, I had to fire the first 5, which was just made the first year and a half harder than it should have been, more stressful than it should have been. I mean, those are the first things that jump out at me.
Frank also had another great post there. It says, "Why isn't stability sexy anymore?
Yeah,
Why is scaling praised more than stability?"
because it's boring. It's not sexy. Social media is all about sexy. And again, that's kind of to I think it was Frank or someone's question earlier. Again, if starting at 55, I would just get to 4, 6, 8, whatever that number is for you, and then flip right into chill mode and payoff mode. And that, I mean, that would be the goal. I don't think you have to scale. I think the answer is Dion's method. I think he got to 16 or 18 or whatever. Get to your number, reduce debt, less stress, the better. Yeah, scale is sexy, chaos is sexy. But life is about peace. And that's why you got to know thyself. And I steal that from Pace Morby, right? Know thyself. He told me that one time on the side when I was commiserating about, and again, I mean, always self-reflection, right? I suffer the same thing that probably all of you do is you compare yourself to others, right? I compare myself to Pace on lots of things. And it's just like, not even close, dude. I don't even think we're playing the same game. And he's like, Zuber, you're living an amazing life, brother. Know thyself. You want to do this, this, this. I want to do this, that, and that. We should be different. Basically, he told me to stop beating myself up, and he was right. I don't want Pace. Can you imagine what Pace does in a day? I want nothing of that, right? But we all suffer the same, or at least I assume most of you suffer the same comparison. At least sometimes we all have our moments of weakness. But yeah, I wish peace on all of you. Portfolio peace. Know thyself. Think about it, right? If you don't know where you want to go, think about it. You got a week to the new year. Where do you want it? What's the number? What's the thing? And just be comfortable with that. Be comfortable in your own skin. And I say that as somebody who struggles just as bad as some of you.
I'm not sure if you saw Graham Stephan's one of his more recent videos. Did you see the him mentioning now he's kind of like accepted maybe
I did watch that. I sent him a note. Yeah, I sent him a
yeah,
text.
and he's really found like where the easy money he's willing to spend money, I guess, for comfort in a sense, right? To make his life easier. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
he
was a
and I
very
talked about it. Yeah, and he actually sent me a screenshot. I put it in school, I think, of it because he has reminders on his home screen. Like he talked about the 2080 rule in that video. That's all on his phone. So he's very very intentional about that. And Jack asked the question: Pace Morby's headliner for day 2. Day 1 is Jason Hartman
okay.
for our event in Vegas.
And you also mentioned your ending sales for the tickets on what day again?
Yeah, January 15th. Tickets will no longer be on sale because I don't need a full month, but I need a couple of weeks, and I just wanted to pick a date and stop the sale. So you only got a couple of weeks.
And there was one question in school that Frank it had a very divided response.
Uh
A
oh,
lot of people tuned in, but it was, would you do 4 okay deals or one great deal?
one great deal. One great deal.
I knew that was
I
coming.
I believe what I didn't hear you.
I knew that was going to
Yeah,
be your response.
I think if you only do great deals, um, it just compounds. And the other thing is, great deals are obviously harder. I get it. However, I believe great deals are always out there. And oh, by the way, if you really want to know the truth, I think one of those 4 good deals, if you had followed up and continued the process, would turn into a great deal. It's just how this game works. It's only great deals. Now, if you don't have to listen, but that's why I talk about learn average, do good or great. And you got to know where you are in the cycle. We are in a buyer's market in most of the country, especially right now. It is only great deals. Now, if you rewind the clock to 2022, when the world was going to bananas, that might have been a time to only do good deals because it was just stuff was moving so fast. But in the market we're in now, and likely will be in for the next 6 to 12 months, only great deals. And frankly, if you really want to know what I believe, we are only doing deals of the year or deals of the decade. Right? This is the time to hammer it. Right? And if you think you're going to write 20 offers, you probably need to write 100. That's the discipline and frequency. You know, that's just how this game is played.
All right. So before we wrap it up with the
Oh,
final,
old guy Frank asked a
oh,
Taylor, I don't know, a tweak of a question. What if you buy a great deal and it turns into an okay deal? That's okay. Again, learn the lesson. Like, what is it about that deal that turned it from great to okay? That's the lessons learned. We don't want to repeat those mistakes. Was rent lower? Were expenses higher? If you close on what you think is a great deal and it turns into okay, learn the lesson, move on. Don't beat yourself up. I mean, let me be honest. I would say half the deals I did, certainly half the deals I did in the first decade. Yeah, certainly in the first 10 years, half the deals I did that I thought were great turned out to be okay for the first 3 to 4 years. They did turn around and become great after that. But no, if you're closing on what you think a great deal is and it turns into okay, totally fine. Learn the lesson. Don't repeat the mistake.
Flavio comments also, since I joined school, steps seems easiest for me and I can dream bigger thanks to
Nice.
all the accountability calls. And like whenever Flavio messages me, but he says whenever he has a question, I always connect him with the right people. So yeah, I don't know what people are waiting for joining school.
I don't know. I don't know. It's
Uh,
the happiest. Do we have 508 people as of this morning going the same direction? You can't find that anywhere else. You all want to build wealth. You're all going the same direction. You're at different places at different paces, but you're all doing the right things. That's an amazing place to be. Of course, we're helping each other. If you're in one of my communities, you're a go-giver. And yes, you're ask for help, but you also give advice. And it's an active community, all different things. Again, we got Airbnb short-term rentals now, out-of-state investing, ladies at ORAT. We got brokers in real estate. We got 9 accountability groups to choose from. plus all the education. We added the Get Your Money Right course, which made me 60 grand. But I put it in there for free when we crossed 500. So, I don't know why people are sleeping on it.
Take a Hike 2022 asks, where do you stash your reserve cash, capex, and maintenance money?
So I believe in that. I believe that stuff needs to be liquid, especially when you have nearly 200 units. You just never know what happens. So it's either a money market or a high yield savings account. It's quick access. It's money I theoretically need to move in 2 hours or less if something goes haywire.
All right. And yeah, like you said, talking about school also, last night, Frank's Christmas Eve, he still went Zoom call, went for I think he went for 3 hours, if I'm not
My
mistaken.
goodness, Frank, that's amazing.
And actually letting everyone know my account or a Pittsburgh accountability call is still going to be going on today. We'll have it open for
Wow, on Christmas Day.
Yeah, people's comments are like, I have to get away from my family anyway. So, so we're still gonna do it.
Dude, I get it. I get it. That's awesome.
But we'll wrap it up then with this last one. This one was on your daily financial news vibe session is a complete joke video.
Yeah.
Ross Ferguson says, "Merry Christmas to Michael, Olivia, and the ORAT family. Best daily financial news and one of the best and most honest channels on YouTube, with time being our most valuable asset. I choose what I watch on YouTube carefully. I like to consume content from creators that don't need the money. That's good business practice in general. Hence, why I ignore solicitation calls and door-to-door salesman models."
Thank you very much for that comment. Again, yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody. Thank you all for being here. If you guys don't know and you missed the beginning of the daily financial news, I actually started with my YouTube stats, with the first one being revenue. We made about $36,000 this year on YouTube. But more importantly to me, we did almost 1,300 videos, 1,300 videos in 365 days. That's crazy. And again, back to the earlier comment, I didn't work a day. This is all fun for me. I get to talk to friends. I mean, how cool is that? I get to talk to my friends every day. I get to help people. We get to change generations. We get to chase impact, not money. And that's the biggest thing I've learned on YouTube is a content creator has one choice. When you're creating a channel on YouTube, you have one choice. Do you want to do this for AdSense or do you want to do it for impact? And I'm here for impact. And that's why my stats, aren't jumping off the page. That's why, Real Estate Mindset's got 200,000 and, Reventure Consulting's got 500,000. We're playing a different game. They're paying their rent with, AdSense, and, I don't need the money. So I chase impact. So it's pretty cool.
All right. Yeah. It's a great way to wrap it up. Thanks for doing this. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. No.
You're the one that did all the hard work, man, going through all those comments and all of that. So, folks, at the end of the day, Merry Christmas. I will be back Sunday morning for the daily financial news. And I hope everybody gets what you want, make some memories, take some pictures, hug your kids, and just keep being awesome. Take care, Mark. Thanks for doing this.
Bye, everyone.